The word divorce apparently does not only mean divorce in a legal sense, dissolution of marriage. Apparently, there's a new concept, or at least a new phrasing of an old concept called sleep divorce. What is a sleep divorce? Well, according to most sources, including a video we made for YouTube and various other outlets, a sleep divorce is where two people may sleep in the same bedroom or separate bedrooms on separate beds. Perhaps they have twin-size beds, perhaps they have queen-size beds, maybe they have a California king-size bed in which they do back salts, backflips, and somersaults, and have the greatest time ever not having to sleep next to somebody. A lot of the images we would see from television and movies in the 50s, 60s, and 70s had been men and women trying to make it work, sleeping, and I mean sleeping literally not in a sexual sense, sleeping together as husband and wife. Who would have the covers? Who would have the pillows? Who would have the better side of the bed that's not caved in from overuse? What happens when maybe the wife wants to watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or perhaps the nightly news, or maybe a political show, and the husband wants to watch wrestling, or hockey, or football, and there's only one television? Easy solution with a sleep divorce. Husband in one room, watch whatever you want on Netflix, on NBC, ABC, Fox. Wife in another room. You can watch anything you want. You can read without having all of the audible sounds of your husband snoring, or your husband watching sports on loud volume, hearing, shooting and he scores! That can be disruptive. Also, one might think that one of the biggest issues, according to married people, is not having common interests. Is that sort of thing resolved by cramming two people together in a bedroom in the same bed, forcing them to participate in each other's interests even if they don't want to? What if husband wants to read a book? What if wife wants to watch a movie? What if somebody wants to talk on the phone to one of their friends from 9 to 11 o'clock at night and the other party's exhausted and needs to sleep? The situations and the configurations are practically endless. This is not a new issue, but again, it is newly coined a phrase as a sleep divorce. Is that an ugly phrase? Only if you believe the word divorce is an ugly phrase, then I believe the stigma has long since come and gone with dissolution of marriage. Even so, try telling your friends, Harold and I, or Betty and I, we just got a sleep divorce. And your friend's going to say, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I can't believe that you're getting a divorce. I thought you two were really making it work. You've been together for 20 years. What then do you say? Okay, there's clearly a misunderstanding here. Or, oh no, do you know what a sleep divorce is? Well, maybe that term might not be the best. Maybe simply saying that my wife and I, or my husband and I sleep in a separate bedroom, that might be the more practical solution and the better conversational phrasing. If you have to use the term sleep divorce, be prepared to explain it almost immediately, because the other party might have an expression on their face which might be it's one of shock and surprise and awe, but particularly misunderstanding. From a biological and a physiological standpoint, why might some spouses not want to sleep in the same bed? One, maybe wife is always hot and wants the air conditioning or the fan on full blast. Maybe husband is always cold and wants several blankets. These two things do not always go together well, the hot and the cold. Maybe somebody sweats all night long and needs special sheets and the other party can't stand the fabric. Maybe one party routinely, I mentioned this a minute ago, steals the blanket. And one of the spouses wakes up freezing cold, and the other spouse wakes up with 3 blankets on top of all of the pillows. These are common situations and common scenarios. They may sound laughable from an outside perspective, but dealing with that on a day-to-day basis can be rough. And finally, when it comes to sleep divorce, the first thing that I thought of when I originally heard the term was, my gosh, Now they do not have to hear each other snoring all night long. As we age, for whatever reason, pick your poison, pick your diagnosis, pick your physician. For whatever reason, it appears that our snoring tends to grow louder. We do not sleep quietly. And that can mean that one of the spouses who needs near total silence might not be able to sleep properly because their spouse is snoring up a storm. They are so loud that it makes a good night's sleep nearly impossible. Now you know what a sleep divorce is. With that information, do with it what you will. Maybe some of you were legitimately considering separate beds or separate bedrooms. Maybe some of you would rather go from separate bedrooms and get back together in a sense. And others among you, perhaps you are just looking for a little bit of a better way to identify what a sleep divorce means and be able to talk to a friend about it, be able to tell somebody about it in casual conversation so as not to make it sound like you're getting an actual divorce and cast aspersions on yourself and your marriage. This has been another episode of the Best Florida Family Law Podcast. This is attorney Jonathan Jacobs of the Jacobs Law Firm. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to remind you that nothing said here today is legal advice. This is entirely intended for entertainment, informational purposes, referential purposes, and if you have any questions about divorce, family law, please contact an attorney. We would be happy to speak with you, and do your own research. Do not rely on this podcast for that. Thank you so much. See you next time.